I want to get right over to our chief political analyst, NBC's Todd. Chuck, this was quite the debate for a variety of reasons. It was a debate unlike any other we've seen. I want to get your analysis immediately right after this debate and what it means.
Look, we began this conversation before this debate. You know, one of the things was, would either candidate look like the caricature that the other campaign has been trying to paint of him? And at the end of the day, Joe Biden looks like the caricature that conservative media has been painting. And there were no clips tonight, right? This was, you saw it before your eyes. Look, I don't want to just tell you what I think here, Tom. I've been talking to a lot of leaders in the Democratic Party, electeds, coalition leaders. There's a full-on panic about this performance. Not like, oh, this is recoverable. It is more of a, okay, he's got to step aside. There's a lot of that chatter. This is about as bad of a performance in order to that Biden could have delivered if his goal was to try to sort of calm the waters among Democrats. I mean, look, there was a poll just out earlier this week that showed, you know, a lot of Democrats, it's not just elected Democrats, rank and file Democrats, are both supportive of Biden but think he should not be seeking a second term. I have a feeling we're going to see more polling on this, and we're going to see that number even higher. But the panic level, particularly among elected Democrats who have to share the ballot with him, there's a full-on panic tonight. Maybe they'll get calmed down in the morning, but there's going to be there's a lot of chatter among donors tonight, a lot of chatter among major elected leaders tonight. Again, if the Biden campaign needs to, they have a lot of calming calls that they're going to have to start making, or they may see this get momentum publicly, and I don't know if they can stop that.
Well, Chuck, and I want to ask you about that, because if you open up any news website right now and you see the headlines are exactly what you're talking about tonight. Yep. So if you're a Democratic voter, if you're somebody who's going to vote for this party, and now you're confused because you hear your party leaders are concerned as well, walk our viewers through what potentially could or could not happen. I mean, is he going to run no matter what? Is this conversation too early to have? And is there a process in place where Democrats can get together? And if he's not their guy, is there enough time to find somebody else?
Well, look, I mean, this was always one of the interesting timing of this debate was always that, oh, this is intriguing. The Biden campaign wants a debate before you pass the last exit for gas, meaning before the Democratic convention. If Joe Biden decides he does not want to seek this nomination, he can release all his delegates. And then it basically becomes an open convention. And we haven't had a real open convention really since 1952. So, and that becomes a whole, you probably have the vice president. You might have a couple of governors. You might have the home state governor in Illinois, who's the host of the convention, wanting to follow in the footsteps of an Illinois governor in 1952, who was able to gather that nomination in Adlai Stevenson when the convention decided to hand it to him. But it all begins with Joe Biden would have to agree to do this. And you don't walk away from these things. They're going to fight. I mean, you feel a little bit of the fight tonight. They're trying to say, look, he was thrown off a little bit at the beginning. I don't know how you're thrown off, that you're surprised that inflation is the first question, but that's their excuse.
Chuck,
maybe that'll be enough to calm the waters. I don't buy it. And I'll tell you this, Tom. I think there are two public Democrats to be watching for and to see if they say anything. Because I think there are two Democrats who, if they went public with this, I don't know if Joe Biden could stop the freight train. One would be Nancy Pelosi, and the other would be Barack Obama. And I think those are the two most influential Democrats right now in this process, in this party, and where this could end up going.
Well, Chuck, it's interesting you say that, because the two of them have been some of his biggest supporters to date, right? And you're right, his strongest voices to date. I do want to ask you something. Do you think it was a bit of political malpractice by his staff to announce midway into the debate that he had a cold and not let people know that early on, so they could have lowered the bar, so people could have been ready for what we saw of Joe Biden in the beginning? And again, it could be spin, it could not be true, but listen, this is what we're hearing from the Biden campaign.
Well, I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Do you say it in advance? He's got a cold, and then it looks like you're really trying to lower the bar, right? I don't think there's any good answer there. But look, that was, among the feedback I got from one elected official said, that's his performance after 5 days at Camp David? That's after rest? So I do think, frankly, the campaign had to come out with some explanation, because I guess the cold is what they got to hang their hat on this.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.